title of my talk then is unfixable. And what I'm referring to here is that I have this point of view, this way of looking at the world, that comes to the conclusion that the next 20 years are going to be completely unlike the last 20 years. Trite statement, it's always different. Look at technology. But I mean in the sense that how we know how the world works, how we trust that the world works, how stocks grow, what we know about investing, what we know about how our economy functions, that all of these things are due for a real, fundamental, earth-shaking kind of a change. And so what I want to present to you today is this view that I have. It's a lens that I look at the world through. And once I actually put this lens into place in my life, I couldn't take it off again. It was like the red pill, if you watch the movie The Matrix. It's this idea that once you have a piece of knowledge, it's impossible to unhave that same piece of knowledge. And so as I scanned across the world headlines recently, this lens helps me understand what's going on. So here was an example, Deepwater Horizon, this is in happier days. This was around April 20th, 2010, and it was unhappy days. Right? So this crisis, this should have been a gigantic wake-up call, not because it was a big environmental disaster, not because of how much oil got released into the world, but because of what it told us. This is one of the most sophisticated pieces of technology on the planet. More sophisticated, I would argue, than the space program. This thing can drill down, this deepwater rig can drill down 30,000 feet to pressures of over 30,000 psi. It's unbelievable what it could do with pinpoint precision. And this rig was over the Macondo 252 field. It was drilling after a field that, if we got it all up to the surface at once, would power the world for 12 hours. That should tell you everything you need to know about where we are in the oil exploration story, about where we are in terms of finding the big fields. That's what we're down to. There's a really important message there, besides the limits of technology, which is maybe a second message that's in there. And we're seeing the global financial system, all sorts of riots and people really unhappy, and there's disappointment and expectations are being dashed and austerity is being talked about and printing and all these things that we've been hearing about. Look at this credit bubble, 40 years of credit bubble in the making, QE1, 2, 3, TARP, TALF, all of these things. How do we make sense of these as investors? How do we protect and preserve our wealth? I will tell you that all of these things that we're reading about, if you look at them just through the economic lens, it makes investing impossible. I don't know why some of you don't trust government in this room, by the way. That's mysterious to me. So I want to try and make investing just a little bit less complicated in this story, and it begins here. I look at the economy. I have a deep understanding of it. I can talk about the economy, I think, toe-to-toe with almost anybody, and that's one place that we can look at. And I care a lot about it, because the economy is how we organize ourselves, right? It's how we get things done. If our economy wasn't functioning the way it does or has been, nobody could make it to this room. The economy is essential. I have 3 children. I want to create a world worth inheriting. I want them to have an economy they can step into that has purposeful jobs. So I care about the economy a lot. But I understand that without energy, an economy is meaningless. Give me all the money in the world and put me on a desert rock with no energy, no food, no oil, no anything, and I don't have anything, right? So energy is the original master resource. It is the thing that allows everything else to happen. So what I do in my work is put these two pieces together. I think we have to look at both of them at the same time to understand. I think if we have our gaze fully just in the environment or economy or energy, any one of these 3 E's, I just slipped out the environment, this is my third piece. This is around resources for me in particular. I think we have to look at all 3 of these together.